5 minutes or what? But as Katie said, let's keep this program going because we value your time. Let's go straight into our next presentation, which is going to be covering an area that's very important to our clubs if we want to succeed, not only want to succeed, but also want to be distinguished or better.
Can't hear you, Phil. You should project.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
All right. So this is an area that if we want to be distinguished or better, we had better excel. It's the area of membership. And presenting that topic today is a member who has excelled in both. He's also excelled in both the speaking and leadership. He's a distinguished Toastmaster, a 2-time district champion, covering table topics, international speeches, semi-final runner-up, and now serving as our program quality director. Telling us more about membership renewals, let's welcome Mr. Joel Dawson.
Okay, can everybody hear me in the back? We're good? In the back? Okay. Phil, I think you should call it. You should definitely be a game show. That's something else. Okay, today we're going to talk about renewals and what is the best way to actually go about this whole process. I know some people get kind of antsy when it comes to stuff like that, but I'm going to tell you, it's really, really simple. Collecting dues, paying dues, all of that kind of stuff is really simple, but there's something that I do want to go over first before we can talk about that. So what I want you to understand is when you're going through your dues renewal process, it's a little different than just calling somebody and say, hey, I need you to sign up, okay? Because money is emotional to people. We all know that, right? Everybody's having a good time right now, but if you turn next to the person, hey, you know, $100. Watch what happens, right? Now that's your friend, right? But things are gonna, yeah, all kinds of, you know, like a fight over there. I'm only joking, man. It's only joking. Okay? So I want you to understand that going in, and I'm gonna tell you a story. Something that happened to me, I guess when I was in my 20s, when I first got involved in the insurance business. I started it, no, when I talk about the insurance business, I'm not talking about the guys that, you know, sit up in the office behind the desk. No, I'm talking about back when they had the big book and you had to go house to house. That's how I started. So I'm new, I'm in my 20s, and I go to this company, I'm just kind of like hotshot salesman, so I wasn't used to collecting money. And the account that I had to collect $250,000 a year. Now that may not seem like a lot, but it is if you're only collecting it $5 and $10 at a time. Yeah, that was a lot. It was almost a full-time job. My boss he was an older gentleman, and the way he trained me was kind of like the Mr. Miyagi type. He would ask me to do things, but he would never tell me why. So when I first started, you know, the first award that they got was the sales award. I did win that, you know, so this stuff is easy. All I got to do is go there, collect the money, no big deal. So there were 3 people that he said, on your way home, I want you to go collect from these people. Not a problem. So one of them, because the place was right where I live, and it was a high-rise. It's in Houma. If anybody ever been to Houma, you know where the high-rise is. And what it is, it's an assisted living facility where older people live. Okay? So I look at one of the names, the first one on there was Mr. Johnson. It's not necessarily Mr. Johnson. I'm telling you, he looked exactly like that. Okay? So Mr. Johnson is your typical, you know, the old, angry black guy. And I can say that because I'm now him. I'm the guy that in the neighborhood, the little kids will tell you, don't play that loud music, don't be in my door, don't go to the bar. That's me. So I'm Mr. Johnson right now. So I go to Mr. Johnson, and this was the first time. So knock on the door. Good morning, Mr. Johnson. My name is Joel. I come to collect for your insurance. He's like, oh yeah, come on in, partner. That's how you talk real fast. So I sit there, and you know, he's counting his money real slow. Real slow. Now, if you have to collect $250,000 in a year, you have to be boom, 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 boom. And it took him so long, you know, so he would pay me his insurance, then he'd start counting again. And he'd pay for his wife's insurance. Now I look at the sheet and I know both of them together, combined, was $26 and 1 penny. Okay? So of course I don't say anything. So the following month, I go back again and I forget about it. But now you sitting there, you're going through this thing, he paid me for his, and then he paid for his wife. $26 and 1 penny. That's like, you know, this is, I said, you know, Mr. Johnson, you can just give me, if both of them together are $26. You can just give me $26, don't worry about the penny. He said, oh, yeah, I got you. But he doesn't do it. So the third time I go there, I remember, it's like, okay, well, he only owes me $26. I want to get in and I want to get out. So, knock on the door. Mr. Johnson, how you doing this morning? Oh, yeah, I'm doing fine. I said, hey, Mr. Johnson, before you get started, I said, your insurance and your wife's insurance is only $26. Why don't you just give me $26 and then we'll forget about the 1 penny? He said, whoa. He went on attack. He said, let me tell you something, young fellow. He said, I pay my insurance. I pay my insurance every month, and I pay my insurance long before you came along. Long before you came along, he said, let me tell you something. He said, you don't tell me what to do. The reason that my boss wanted me to go through that was to understand that when it comes to any type of monetary transaction amongst people, sometimes it can get emotional. So you have to be aware of that when you're going through this process, even with the people in this room today. But I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, let's go through the basics. Okay? What is the deadline for dues to qualify for DCP? Exactly. Well, we have two, so I'm going to cover everything. In the beginning of the year, you're exactly right. September 30th. March 30th. Close? Yeah, half of it. You still win. You still win. That still qualifies. Okay, so why is this important? All of the above. Right. DCP, elections, contest. I'm going to tell you an unfortunate story. It almost happened, it did, but I see how it could have really went bad. And this is when I was an area director. I was an area director really young in my Toastmaster career. And I was having this contest, my area director contest. And the area that I had only had one club. Well, that one club that somebody was going to be participating in. So the guy automatically advanced. Guy that was really exciting, always active. So we're at the division contest. And the division director asked me, they didn't have the speaker eligibility check that they have right now, so you actually had to research. And this is the later part of the year. So the division director asked me, did you make sure all of your contestants were in good standing? Yeah! So it was the day before, and she called me and said, you have a contestant that's not in good standing. I'm like, who? When she told me, my heart sank, because this was somebody that was really, really active in Toastmasters, new, young guy. There's no way that he would not have paid his due. It's just that they forgot. They didn't realize the importance of having that. Luckily enough, we were able to get that done so we could compete. So these things right here are extremely important. Now with the rollout of the Pathways platform, if you're not in good standing, you basically get evicted. Basically, you won't be allowed to, it basically locks you out of the system. So that's why making sure that you collect the dues at the proper time is really, really important. Okay, now let's go. Club growth director, where's he at? That handsome looking fellow back there, Mr. Chick Miller, is the captain of the ship for this one.
I'll pay you later.
You got it. Now at the club level, in each level, there are certain goals that we want to achieve. If you're in a club, there's 10, division, area, and at the district level, there's 3. Now, if we do a really, really good job, that good-looking Chippendale fellow back there, he gets awarded called the Excellence in Club Growth, okay? Which means he has to meet the membership payments as well as the club growth and all that kind of stuff. We're just going to kind of glance all over that. But to let you know what a club in good standing is, you have to have a minimum of how many? 8. Out of those 8, 3 have to be renewal members. Okay? Is everybody okay with that? Yes. Okay. Now I'm going to try to go, so I don't want to just run through this. If anybody have any questions, just raise your hand and stop. You can do like Mr. John say, hold. and I'll go ahead and stop, okay? Now, division and area directors. This is a requirement in order for you to go distinguished at the basic level. You have to have your clubs in good standing. All of them. Okay, you want to make sure that they're in good standing. Okay, what you want to do is we're going to monitor this process because everybody in this room is involved in it as officers. We want to make, and one thing that we're going to do is we're going to collect as a team. And we're going to talk about that a little later, but what I mean by a team, I'm talking about the division, area, club, even us. Collect as a team, right? Because we have to be nice to Mr. Johnson, right? Okay, I don't know, maybe Heather can answer this question. I don't know if you can do it at the end of the year, but at the beginning of the year, because they now accept annual payments, if you get 8 annual payments, your club will be in good standing all year. So when you're collecting dues, especially next year, since you do have that option, make sure that you give your members that option to pay a year. I know I would, just because I don't want to go through it. Yes? Yes?
They can do, if your club is set up on a 6-month basis, which most of them are, there's only a few clubs set up on annual, you can still accept annual payments. All you have to do is notify Toastmasters with the name and the member number and let them know what you're trying to do. They will activate that setting in the member's account. When you go to enter the payment, it'll renew it for the first 6-month period, and then another screen will come up and you renew for the next 6-month period. So you do have to contact TI in order to do that, but it is completely possible.
Okay, great. Did everybody hear that?
Yes.
Okay, club presidents. What you want to do, what part of your job is to make sure that your club is in good standing as the president. So going into this, you want to know, when am I going to get 8? Now, one thing that we're going to talk about collecting, we're going to talk about submission. There's 2 different things. There's 2 totally different things. You can collect dues anytime. You can collect dues today if you want. Submitting them is something different. Okay, so I want to make sure that we're clear on that between collecting and submitting. Okay, so but what you want to do is make sure that your club will be in good standing. Basically saying, okay, well, how many people are going to renew? How many you think are going to renew? Okay, you don't have to have the money, but you definitely want a commitment. Okay, oh yeah, I can tell you right now, Evangeline, I'm going to renew. I will. That's a commitment. So you definitely want to be able to tell your area director when your club is going to be in good standing. Okay, so that's one thing that you definitely want to stay on top of. Okay? Now, here comes the process. Pay dates. For me, you have to pay attention to the pay dates. You should start collecting in February. Remember, collection, submission, 2 things. Collection, submission, 2 things, 2 totally different things. Here's why. When I first say start collecting in February, the deadline is until March 30th, that's 2 months. That's 60 days. It is 60 days. But the focus should not be on 60 days. The focus should be on how many opportunities that you have to collect. Some people get paid on the 1st and the 15th. Some people get paid on the 15th and the 30th. Some people get paid every Friday. Some people get paid every other Friday. Some people get paid on the 1st. Some people get paid on the 3rd. Okay? At a bare minimum, you should start collecting no later than 45 days out. I suggest 60. If you start collecting on February 1st, that gives you the opportunity for those people that are on a fixed income. That only gives you 2 opportunities to get that money from. That's only 2 opportunities. Now, will they have money? Oh yeah, they will. See, you can go to somebody get paid on the 1st to the 15th, or somebody's gainfully employed, they get paid every week, every other week. You can go to them at the end of the month and say, hey, are you going to pay your dues? That works for pretty much everybody. Let me tell you, that's not going to work for them. You have to understand, and here's why. If they only get paid once, and you don't take that opportunity to allow them to pay their dues then, now even though they may still have money at the end of the month, you're not going to get it, because that's all they have. That's all they have. Now they will pay their dues, but you know when they're going to pay it? On the 1st. Okay? Now, you just by looking at people, you don't know who that is. But if you start collecting and just leave it in your bank account on February 1st, okay, you have 2 opportunities to collect that money from Mr. Johnson. Because if you go to Mr. Johnson that last week, you're not going to get it. It doesn't matter what you say, you're not going to get it. Okay? Y'all like that, huh? Yes, ma'am.
Why do you want us to collect the money when they're already going on the pathways, they're already into the system? Why aren't they going on to pay their own dues?
They can't.
The membership person has to do it. Or
Yeah.
that's-
I'll show you how to cover that. The only people they're allowed to pay dues online right now are just the officers. So it has to be submitted that way if you want to be officer. There's other ways around that though. You're on page 10 and I'm still on page 2, but I'm about to catch up with you. Okay, now, as a district executive committee, as I said, we're going to start 2 months out. Okay? Newsletters, area directors, clubs, everywhere. We're now accepting payments, with the exception of social media. That's kind of flaky. Remember, people are emotional about money. Okay? But you have to remember that it's out of sight, out of mind. So you always want to keep that on the forefront. Okay? That during this period, we are accepting payments. Not, you need to pay your dues. I'm telling you, Mr. Johnson's going to come out. Okay?
Time to review your membership.
Yeah, pretty much. Or anything like that, anything that's non-threatening. Okay? So, club officers, remember, out of sight, out of mind. Emails, everything that goes out should have in bold letters, we're now accepting renewals. We're accepting. Everywhere you turn, when it comes to Toastmasters, they should see this message somewhere. Okay? Remember, we talked about collecting as a team. Not just the president, not just the secretary, not just the treasurer. As a team. And for the people that have really, really big clubs, that's really, really important. Okay? You can't just say, okay, see the secretary in the back of the room and all of everybody goes back there. So you can get overwhelmed. So collect as a team. Next time you have an officers meeting, figure out what is the best way to do this. What is the best way to get this accomplished? Of course, if you only have 7 members or something like that, it makes it a lot easier. But to keep this really simple, for the next 2 months, work as a team. Everyone work as a team to make sure that all of the members have the opportunity to continue on their journey. Okay? Club president. Whoops. Uh-oh. Dues are considered paid when they are processed by TI, not when they're in your bank. Okay. Another advantage to getting this process started early in February, because if you wait until the last 2 weeks of March, when everybody else is submitting theirs, you can run into the danger of just a backlog of it. And you don't want to do that. You want to be in the driver's seat when it comes to this. Being in the driver's seat means that when March comes, March is the month, whenever the window opens, you don't know right now. I don't know right now. But whenever that window opens, you want to start submitting dues, not collecting them. Because you're not going to be able to just go to everybody and say, hey, pay your dues. Because you have to pay it, you have to do that on their time. Right? Okay. Don't just collect dues the day that you have the meeting. If somebody gets paid on a Thursday or something and you live pretty close to, make that available. Do you want to meet me? Don't just necessarily think that, we'll just wait till next week. If you're the treasurer, remember, this is your season. This is, when you're front and center. For 60 days. 60 days, just be willing to basically do whatever it takes so that the members can continue. Okay? And like I said before, you don't want them to be just the only one. BPPR. Everything. Newsletters. Anything that you have in your club. Area directors, division directors, anything that you send out. Because remember, everybody's got skin in the game on this one. Everybody has skin in the game on this one. When you have your area calls, when you have your division calls, hey, just as a reminder, we are accepting dues this month starting in February. But if some of you want to be real, enthusiastic and start today, you can. It doesn't matter. But you do want to get a jump start on this. Okay? Treasurer. By the way, so you can see this. Okay, as I said, you can collect anytime. Communicate face to face. Remember, this is a personal issue. Okay, don't say, hey, Christian, you going to pay your dues? No, don't do that. Well, that's good. Thank you. Okay. September and March, you should start submitting dues, not collecting. Remember the difference. Submitting and collecting. That's two different things. Okay? If you go to Free Tosos, well, it's best to use the TI website and just print out a member list, an accurate member list. It'll tell you everyone that you need to collect from. Sometimes, and I've seen it happen, where the Free Tosos membership is different from what the TI website says. So we definitely want to go off of that. Okay? Do not limit collecting on just the days that you meet. Any other questions? Nope. We're good?
Good.
Rolling along. Okay, here we go. One of the things that we've done to really accelerate this, especially if you have a really, really large club, are a couple of different things. Okay, one of the first things that we did was add a PayPal link for those of you that may have a PayPal account that we link to our club bank account. We put a PayPal link on the invoice. So when we send that invoice out, whether they use it or not, number one, every single person in your club has the ability to pay for their dues. Whether they use it or not, you know that they do have the ability. Be prepared to rescind it, but at least you know that when it comes to that, every single person has the ability to pay for it. Okay? Verbal commitments, as I said, a commitment is just as good to say, okay, I'm going to pay next Friday. Okay, great. Do you need a reminder? Would you like me to remind you? Okay, find out how they're going to pay it. Find out how they're going to pay it, when they're going to pay it. And the one thing that I've always done that works really, really well is first of all, when you're writing all of this stuff down, you're taking notes. And let's just say they say, okay, well, I'm going to pay next Tuesday at the meeting. Okay, I'll give them a buzz, or maybe the week before. Hey, are you still okay with paying next week? Are you still okay with that? They'll say yes or no. But they'll say, all right, now you told me last week that you was going to pay. Don't do it, because now you're not going to get anything. Nothing. And people have left Toastmasters because of that. Okay. Remember, you are not bothering when it comes to this. Now, some people don't have a problem when it comes to asking for renewals. Some people do. And that's because some people take it personal. If somebody's not going to renew, it has nothing to do with you. It does not. It has nothing to do with you. So please don't take it personal. Okay? They're not saying no to you. This is not a rejection on you. They just choose to do something different. And besides, you're only asking. So there shouldn't be any pressure. Hey, are you going to renew this year? Plain and simple. Just like that. Are you going to renew this year? And they'll say either yes or no. If they say yes, great. When? When would you like to do it? If they say no, that's no problem. Just pass the name up to the president and they'll deal with it that way. On the flip side of that, you cannot just say, hey, you need to pay your dues, or you need to pay your dues. Okay? You are not trying to sell it. Because you know why? Everybody tell me why. Because you do not tell me what to do with my money. Right? Okay. As I said, we're not bothering thinking. Not a problem. So you can actually take a list and go down that list in one day. Hey, you going to be renewing? Yep. Are you going to be renewing? Yep. And find out when you're going to do it. It doesn't have to be this long, methodical process. Just find out and just get a commitment from them. So you can say, hey, Mrs. President, I went down the list and as of right now, we got 15 people committed to renew. Boom. That's all they need to know. That's it. That's good enough. Versus going into it and saying, well, are they going to renew? Are they not going to renew? I don't know. And that's only because you didn't ask them. And it's just as simple as that. Just ask them, are you going to renew this year? And you can go down the whole list. When it comes to talking to people about money, bless you. And then again, this is me personally, because it's work for me. For me, it's best to talk to them either face to face or on the phone. Not through text. When it comes to money, not through email. With the exception of sending out that invoice. Would work best if we have a conversation. Hey, Phil, you're going to renew this year. Not in front of everybody. I mean, think about it. Everybody knows that dues that come around. Dues have to be paid, but it is emotional. Some people will wait to the very last minute. That's just how they are. That's just how they pay bills. As long as they're committed to pay, and you know they're going to pay. On the flip side to that, if you have somebody that has not showed up to a meeting, they're not coming to the meetings, they don't answer your email, they don't answer your text, they don't answer your phone calls, what are the chances they're going to renew? Don't call them. Simple. Save yourself the heartache. If that is the case, then don't make them tell you no when you already know the answer. We know, we just covered it, when the dues are done, we all know that. There's a reminder, you're saying it at the meetings, you get emails from the club officers, it's on there, and they not return your phone, they're not going to renew. They're not. And be okay with that. Be okay with that. Because as club officers, your job or your responsibility is to do one thing and one thing only, and that's to provide a supportive and positive learning experience. That's it. If they choose not to take advantage of it, that's fine. But that's what your job is. That's it. That's why we're all here. That's why we're all here. That's it. Payment options. This will help out a lot with the question that you just asked. Okay? We talked about email. You can also put that link. You can take a little snippet of code and put that link also on your club website on Free Tosos, as well as putting it, in the actual invoice that you sent. If you've ever done that before, or if you've ever tried it, you have to do a new link every year, or every time you collect dues, because if you send it to them, the old link is going to say already paid. Okay? But this works. I have used every single one of these to pay my dues. Okay, of course, you have the traditional, at the end of the meeting, face to face, whether it be after the meeting, out of town somewhere. Here's another option that I've also used. Allow your members to go to the bank and make that deposit, but they have to bring your receipt. I've used that one because the bank was right by my house, always passed by. The key to collecting dues is to give them as many opportunities, or give yourself as many opportunities to do that by utilizing all of these and utilizing the time to make sure that it works into your advantage. Which means start 60 days. And it's not necessarily 60 days, it's about the opportunities that you actually have to collect and the opportunity that they actually have to pay you. Okay? Is that hot here? It's just me. Okay. I know I always get kind of hype when I do that. Okay. Now that we got the payment options. Okay, remember we talked about that. Okay, so-and-so said that they were going to pay, so I have 3 people that said that they were going to pay next week. So I may give them a call. Hey, Shirley. Yeah. That's my James Brown. You can wipe my face on me. Hey! Okay, so to make sure that everybody's on schedule. So I got 3 people that say they're going to pay next week. Okay, give them a quick little call. If I haven't said, hey, listen, are you still okay with paying next month? I mean, next week or whatever? Yeah. Okay, well, no, I can't do it. Okay, not a problem. When can, when you want to get back together on this, when you want to do it. Okay, and just find out. Or some people may say, yeah, we're good. But you do want to, remember, out of sight, out of mind. It's money, it's emotional, but hey, they do understand and they will pay. Okay, but you just have to make sure that when you are doing this, that you're using tact. That's what I explained to you. Okay, when they open that window, when Toastmasters open that window, start processing dues daily. Because what you're going to find out, as the closer and closer you get to September 30th, that system, because so many payments are coming in from around the world, that system is going to start slowing down and slowing down. The last couple of days, that's the days that you do not want to get caught up in that. Especially going into competition season with the elections coming up. So make sure that it's done on the front end. All of your work is done on the front end. You start submitting payments on a daily basis, you'll be done with it. Okay? Let your president know when you're going to get 8. Remember, commitments is just as good. Well, not just as good as cash, but it's close enough. It's close enough. Okay? But if you do it this way, that's going to keep everybody happy. Toastmasters are going to be happy. We're going to be happy. You're going to be happy. And most of all, Mr. Johnson is going to be happy. Hey, crazy. There he is. There he is. Mr. Johnson's going to be happy. Okay. If anybody wants any additional help with this, you can go to D68 PQD or / PQD-message, schedule a session. I'd be glad to go over it with you. Mr. Trainer.
Thank you, Joel. And now we know how not to make Mr. Johnson unhappy. Looks like we are now ahead of schedule. Thank you, Joel. And I'm feeling the next thing.